Hello everyone, I hope you're doing good. Today I'm doing a review for the Revlon Color Stay Foundation. Okay, the reason why I'm doing a review is because I know many of you have asked me, questions and have requests for me to share with you guys on how I felt about the Revlon Color Stay and also whether is it comparable to the NARS Sheer Glow, because I know NARS Sheer Glow foundation is slightly on the expensive side. So I think this foundation might work for those of you who are probably around my skin tone, and I would also share with you on the color range that's very close to my skin tone, that matches my skin tone. In MAC, I'm actually a NC44. Sometimes during winter, I'm like NC44. And then as soon as I get a little bit of sun, then I'm like NC45. And then during summer, when I get lots of sun, I probably have to mix a little bit of NC50. So that is the color range that I am in MAC. And then as for NARS Sheer Glow, which is like the perfect color match for me almost, is actually I'm in the shade Cadiz. Okay, so now for the Revlon Color Stay foundation, previously I was using the color 370 Toast. Okay, it was just a tiny bit light for my skin tone. However, I would balance it out using a darker powder and then it works fine. But recently got my hands on the Rich Ginger, this shade 380 Rich Ginger, and I can tell you this is the perfect match for my skin tone. And as you can see, this is Toast, okay, and this is Rich Ginger. So I'm not sure if you're able to see the color difference. This is a little bit lighter and this is a bit darker. Okay, I hope you can see the color. And I also have the caramel, and this was a mistake, previously when I wanted to try this color range, and back in Singapore I was a lot more tan, so the Toast was just too light for me. So I wanted to try a darker one and I wasn't able to get Rich Ginger, so instead I got caramel. However, I don't use this foundation anymore because somehow something, I think the formula, it has separated or probably gone bad, but I just keep it for the sake of keeping it so that I can do a review someday and I'm doing it right now. So this is caramel. As you can see, it's a bit darker. So now if I put all these three foundation, this is Toast, this is Rich Ginger, and this is caramel. So I am in this shade and this really suits me. It really feels like I'm not even wearing foundation because it's really blended nicely. So in terms of coverage, I would say it's like from light to full coverage depending on how you apply this foundation. What I mean by light is basically taking a little bit of product and then you apply it in a very light-handed, and also you can apply it sheerly. So it's not like as if it's full on kind of makeup. So that's the light sheer application. And then coming to the medium one, of course you take a little bit more and then you blend out, and then you can also build it to a full coverage makeup. So in terms of coverage, I really like it because it really how should I say, it really smooths out my pigmentation problem. It also gets rid of any, not say get rid as in like it covers my under eye circle and also some spots, blemishes here and there that I have. I don't really need to apply concealer separately. Okay, so in terms of coverage, I really like it. However, I don't like how it sits on my face, as in I feel that after application and then I just let it dry, right? I feel like it makes my face feel tight, as in like as if I'm wearing makeup. So that part I'm not really that very comfortable. It's not the same like my NARS Sheer Glow foundation in Cadiz. That one you just feel like it's skin, you just don't feel like you're wearing anything at all. But with this, I am a bit conscious that I am wearing foundation because I can feel it. So with that said, I think for the price and the color range and how it sits on the face, I think it's still a good foundation. It's not that bad. Okay, now longevity, how long it lasts on the face. I've worn this for maybe 8 hours. In fact, even today I'm wearing it and I've worn it for about 8 hours. And as you can see, it's not really shiny. However, during, after about 4 hours or so, I had a bit, just a tiny little bit of shininess coming through my T-zone area. But that can be resolved by using a tissue, just blot, and then, it's fine. And I also noticed that not much makeup transfers onto the piece of tissue. So that's good. That means that the makeup is not really removed when you are, blotting. But as I said, with my NARS Sheer Glow foundation, whenever I blot, part of the makeup comes out. So it doesn't really last long in that sense. It kind of like slides away, moves a bit and fades away because of that. So with the Revlon colorstay, it really stays on, as in like for 8 hours I'm wearing, I still have the coverage. It still has, stayed on. It's not like melting off. So in terms of longevity, I think this is really good. 8 hours is quite good enough actually for me. Now for the smell. I don't know what is it with the Revlon colorstay foundations. All three foundations smell the same, and they have this like almost, it reminds me of like paint, mild, paint kind of smell, very industrial kind of a smell. Yeah, that really puts me off because I can smell it when I'm applying it on. I can feel that smell, somehow I can smell. So I'm not very comfortable with that. However, it goes away after application. The smell just evaporates, so you don't really smell it after application. But when you are applying, you can smell that you have this funny industrial kind of a smell on your face. So that's a bummer actually. Okay, now for the packaging. I have seen many reviews and many of them have the same complaint. This doesn't come with a pump, and also the formula is a little runny. So there is a tendency for you to like, I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm just tilting the bottle and you can already see the product coming out. So it's a bit runny. So there will be a tendency for you to over pour the product, and much of it will be wasted when you don't use it. So it would be good, it would have been better, or it would have been really, really good if it came with a pump. Just like the Revlon Photo Ready foundation, it has a pump. I don't see why they didn't, give a pump for this one. Now for the application, as in how you apply it and so on. I've not really used my fingers to apply this, basically because the foundation is a bit runny. So it's very difficult to like blend it all out, and then it gets all messy. And I'm not really a huge fan of using my fingers to blend out and getting all messy. So I usually use, I mainly use this toothbrush, and that would be the MAC 109, okay? It's a dense brush, and the my recently acquired eBay brush, a cheap flat top eBay brush. So as you can see, I've actually used it. This really, you just stipple on and then do some swirly motions, and then it really blends out perfectly. Well, you can also use a stippling brush. This is the Sigma SS187. This is the old brush. I don't know, I don't really like using this brush though, because I feel that the bristle is a bit too soft. So you can see streaks, and since this foundation is a bit on the, lighter, watery side, this probably doesn't really work well with this foundation. or maybe I've read many reviews, or I've seen many other fellow YouTubers use the 187 MAC 187 brush, and it seems to work fine. But I don't know why I prefer using the 109 and this flat EB flat buffer brush. It seems like it really, smooths out, and also the application is like flawless. So this is pretty much my review based on maybe 2 years I've actually been using this Revlon colorstay on and off. As I said, back in Singapore I was a lot more tan, so this was like a little too light for me. But now that I'm in Sweden, I've lightened down a bit, I've lost my tan. So I think the best shade for me is Rich Ginger. It really works very, very well. You can't see that you're wearing foundation with this, because it really blends out, evens out the skin, and also it looks fine, it looks flawless. So I would really recommend this foundation to anyone who wants a drugstore cheaper alternative to the NARS. Well, I wouldn't really compare it with the NARS Sheer Glow foundation, because this is nowhere close to that. However, in terms of foundation wearing, I use 3 foundations on alternate days. I think I really, in terms of drugstore brand, I think I really prefer the Revlon Colorstay foundation. So please do give it a try if you can, and I would love to know how this foundation has worked for you. So do leave your comments in the comment box, and let me know if you have any questions. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much for watching this review, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye!